about bees today, and I don't really know much about bees, so wish me luck. Not that.
What do you want to know about bees?
Oh, well, I have a PowerPoint, I'm just gonna follow that.
My parents raised honeybees, so I could probably tell you.
Buzz.
I did not know, I just learned yesterday, that honey is from, literally it's bees regurgitating.
Yeah.
I never knew that until like this week, and I'm like, that's disgusting.
Yeah, Miss Gabby told us not to.
Ew, that's gross.
Because they'd be gross.
That's how like baby birds get eaten, as their mom regurgitates food.
That's true, but honey.
Birds get eaten. How they get fed.
Because it comes from
Vomit
nectar
is
sour.
sour.
I read that up. I heard
And they
that.
like spit it into each
Things
other's
like
like
this.
mouths, like this bee spits it into that bee's mouth, and then they keep like doing that and like keep digesting it until it's honey.
It's not people though.
No, I didn't say people.
This is
spit.
gonna
I
be
said
great for
people
everybody else to
first.
listen to.
Oh, if you sit on.
This is on.
Hey, that is useful. I just learned that. I was like, that was.
That is useful.
Are you
Wow,
just randomly
Mine just.
Are you-
got
She
blown
said
up.
bees. She was giving a presentation
Oh.
today.
Are you not gonna eat honey ever again?
No, I probably will. So I was in Bible study. Hold on, and then I'll be done. And I was like, yes, God is omnipotent. And I had a girl look over at me and go, what are we talking about? Weed killer? Because it's omnipotent. And I'm like, omnipotent, trying to sound all smart. I don't know why I talk about it either, but this is like so stupid. I just say I can't pronounce stuff sometimes.
It's okay. And you give your mom a hard time.
Yeah.
All right.
Rectangle.
Did you guys finish the 2-4 homework?
No.
Yeah.
Almond.
I'm so proud
Did
of
you get questions
myself.
on 30,
I did.
33?
Okay, what was the
Yeah.
difficult one at the end that nobody understood? I did it, and I'm very happy.
It's really gold mine just to like be better than everyone. Like I did the hard one.
Do you have
always
questions,
you.
or do you want to wait till tomorrow?
That's always you, Charlie.
Okay, yep.
On the graphing thing on 17, I don't know how to do any of the outside ones.
Did the limit exist on 17?
Yes.
Was it? Wait, what was the answer? Because I forgot right.
You should have got gamma is epsilon over 4.
Gamma.
Yeah.
Delta.
I got that, but I didn't get the same equation.
I got
It's
negative
early.
4. Is that not right?
Okay, no, it's not negative
Oh,
because
wait, you switched to absolute.
when you pull that out, you're still pulling out an absolute value. Okay, so
Oh.
that's still like the absolute value of 4 times the absolute value of x plus 3, which is really 4 x plus 3.
But that.
That what?
Never mind.
Are you okay how I got this?
I got that, but like the x plus 3 didn't match what I had on the other side. I had x minus 3.
But it's x goes to negative 3. So
Oh.
like on the limit, it was this. So x minus the negative turns that into a plus.
Already. I just wrote the problem down wrong.
It's alright, I did that too. When I first saw it. Okay, so then on your graph, and I'm not a good grapher, so. Okay, now this one has a negative slope. Minus 4x, so it's going this way. So if this was my 13th, that's what my limit is. This would be 13 plus your epsilon, 13 minus. And then it goes to negative 3. So plus your delta minus your delta.
That's pretty easy,
And the line should go through all those, but like clearly that's not very good.
Well, it doesn't go through 0.
Right. Thanks for the vote of confidence.
It's probably closer if you.
Yeah. But does that make sense? So you don't have to actually know what
I
the.
actually graphed it and then I tried to do it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So everybody's okay on this? Okay. The limit exists on all of these.
Oh.
in case you're getting
Even
them.
24.
Even 24.
Shoot.
Oh, maybe that's it. Oh,
I was feeling so motivated last night. You don't even understand. I read that little book full of like the senior book because I hadn't read all the
I am
recent ones
impressed that
yet.
you didn't call me.
And I don't know. It like made me motivated to do things.
Do you need me to do 24
And 23.
Yeah.
and 23?
And 33.
Yeah.
Let's not do 23.
What?
Let's not do 23.
Okay, Corey, I'm not as smart as you, so yeah, we're
I
gonna.
did get 23.
They just,
Wait,
they
it's
line up.
not.
I don't think I did 23 right.
Do
Oh, wait,
Okay,
yes.
did you get that part set up right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then your other part is the absolute value of f of x minus, what is it, a? Okay. Now f of x is x, so this is x minus a. All this means is that delta has to be equal to epsilon.
Yay.
That's pretty easy.
Okay.
Do we have to put the check mark next to it?
No, I put check marks anytime I've done like with my proof, I just, to have it.
Okay.
Okay. I emailed Ms. Draper last night, and I told her that I said 2-4 was due by the end of the week, and I asked her about a quiz or a test or whatever's coming up next, and I haven't heard back yet. So I told her, I said I'm going kind of like what you guys have questions on and how fast I think you can go, but I asked her if I needed to go faster, so once I find that out, we'll go from there.
I wish you could like make our review for our test.
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out is if I actually need to make your test or not. So, I don't, have you had a test yet?
No.
No.
Okay, because when I looked on your grade book, you have 5 grades.
That's
And everybody
what
has a
I
10 on
thought.
it.
We all have A pluses in calculus, we're all so.
Like literally, I'm like, there's 5 grades and they're all 10 out of 10s. So you have 50 points in 9 weeks.
Accurate. Help us out for our semester grade.
I guess,
Yeah.
I guess.
I'll
Alright,
bring
did
our
you
final grade.
get this part set up for the first part?
Yeah.
Okay, then the second part, you had f of x minus c. And what is f of x?
C.
C, and c minus c is?
0.
Okay, now what do you know about epsilon? It's different, but what do you know about, like, in the definition of a limit, about, what do delta and epsilon both have to be? They both have to be greater than 0. Okay, so I know this doesn't give you x minus a, but is this still okay? Is epsilon still greater than 0? So you're fine, because it still meets the standard.
Oh.
Okay, so you don't really know what delta and epsilon are, like, so if I flip this, okay, that would be, that's still proving that that limit exists, that's all you're trying to do. So it still meets the qualifications, because epsilon's greater than 0.
So epsilon cannot be negative.
Correct, and neither can delta,
Right.
because it's the error.
And it can't
difference.
equal 0,
Correct,
but.
anything else? Alright, you said you had a question on 30?
Yes.
Yes.
Is
that easy?
Well, so you don't need to do number 3.
What's the answer? You would take the minimum of 1 and epsilon over 7.
I didn't go for
Wait. I thought we were doing 30.
Yeah, that's what the answer to 30 was.
Oh. Wait, I thought you were talking about 33.
The 33,
Yeah.
you're proving that you take the minimum of 2 and epsilon over 8.
Yeah. I read that.
Okay, good.
But now I'm confused about 30.
Are you guys proud of me? I did all of your homework beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
If I didn't, I would like, I'd sit up here and be like, I don't know, like I did the first day. I don't know. I was here till like 10:30 last night.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. really early, so I'd come back and videotape my lessons. The janitors were a little freaked out I was here.
She's in there talking.
Yeah, she's talking
Talking
to
and
herself.
nobody else is in there.
Okay, so the first part of this you should have been okay on, right? So you had 0 less than absolute value of x minus 2 less than delta, right?
Yes.
Okay. Second part. So if that's true, then this is true. X squared plus 2x minus 7 minus 1 has to be less than my epsilon. Okay, correct, because this is f of x? Yeah. Okay, so then if I go to simplify this, I'll make sure this is still on the video. Oh yeah, we got it. Okay, then this factors. Okay, is everybody good so far? Okay, now, which one of those matches what I need? X minus 2, okay? So, your goal is always that your error is going to be less than whatever your limit is. That is not a good lesson sign,
Leave it where it was original.
okay? Leave it there.
It's authentic.
Why'd I do this? Okay, because whatever my limit is 1. So I know whatever this is gonna need, like my error part, absolute value is gonna need to be between -1 and 1, whatever this number is, in order for my limit to still be 1. Because absolute value, you can do absolute value of like 5 is still 5, but absolute value of -5 is also 5. Okay?
But why 1 and -1?
Because that's what your limit is.
Okay.
Okay. Now, sometimes they're gonna give you, like, on like 33, they gave you that it was 2. Okay? So if they give you something, if not, go with 1 and -1. Because that's gonna shrink whatever your error is. Okay, if they just give you like a random equation, go with what that is. Okay, how could I convert this for this to be x plus 4? How could I make x minus 2 and x plus 4? Not just 4,
6.
add 6, right? So if I know this one's already gonna be taken care of, I need to figure out what this one's gonna be to make it match this. Okay? Since I already know this, if I can convert this to this, they're gonna match up. I know that sounds really weird. Okay, but we're gonna use the same thing on 33. So if I add 6, if x plus 2 had to be between -1 and 1, x plus 4 is gonna be between 7 and 5.
Do we not have absolute values anymore?
Sure, let's throw them in there.
I didn't know if that was.
It doesn't really matter, because this is all you're gonna do with that. We just need to make sure that we get them both covered.
Okay.
Okay? Now, if I have a number, I'm, any number, if I'm greater than 5, can we also assume that I'm greater than -7? Yeah, okay, so I know this is gonna be weird, but I need these numbers to be the same so that I can write my inequality. So if I know that this has to be greater than 5, I know that that also is greater than -7. So if I go backwards, this number now can go in front of here, and I get this,
Hold up. Hold up.
okay?
My mind was just blown.
I know, it's okay. This took me a long time to figure this out,
Okay.
so I don't expect you to get it in like 10 seconds.
Did I do that on the thing?
33, you're gonna do something similar because you have x plus 3 and x minus 3.
I thought I did 30.
So you're gonna have to convert the other one to match it.
Why'd you circle the 7?
Because this is now my, because I had one before, this is now my new number, this is gonna go in front of here.
What does 7 mean though? Is it up? No, it's not.
It's, okay, so you're trying to find your, I guess, the preciseness on both sides of whatever your epsilon and your delta are, okay? So what this is this is the coefficient, like we had over here, like 4. So then I divide it by 4. I don't know what epsilon is, okay? But I know whatever this part is has to be less than my delta. So I know that my delta is gonna be epsilon over 4. We have to convert this because there's 2 parts. These parts have to match up. So if I take the part that matches this, and if it doesn't give it to you, and why did I use negative 1 and 1? That's what my limit is, but that's also the smallest gap you could have. You could use 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you're just gonna get everything scaled. If it tells you, like on 33, it tells you 2. And it says like the minimum is 2 and then epsilon over 8,
Uh-huh.
okay? So, it doesn't tell you use 1 and negative 1. Why did I use both? Well, absolute value of 1 is 1, absolute value of negative 1 is also 1. So I have to account for both of these. Okay. Sorry, I get weirded out when I see a lot of like teachers like in the hall and it's like 7:20. This Scottie's a little freaked out. Okay, yeah.
Why couldn't you just like pull out the x plus 4 and then divide that by both sides?
Because you can't have a variable.
Oh, okay.
Like, we don't know what x is, okay? So if we can do it this way, this eliminates where we just have a number over here. So we know that's. Now, this isn't your actual answer because that means, like, I have to have the minimum of whatever one's smaller. Either 1 or epsilon over 7. You go with the smaller one, smaller error. Okay, but we don't know what epsilon is, so I don't know which ones are gonna be smaller, if it's gonna be 1,
How did you
Or-
know one was one?
because that's what he's right here. If it doesn't tell you, it'll be 1 and whatever this is.
So it's not 1 because it equals.
The limit, I mean, yes, it is for this scenario, because that's the smallest it could be, but 1 is the smallest error you could have. Like if you're thinking about the errors between, you can have decimals, but if you're thinking about finding that, 1 is as small as you would go. You wouldn't test like 0.5, 0.3, 0.2.
Why not?
Everything's dealt with integers. So when you're comparing things, like you could have an error of that, but not knowing what x and what delta and epsilon are, you would only go with your integers for ease of solving.
I still don't understand how it's grammatically correct to take that 7 and just put it back.
Grammatically, I mean mathematically correct?
Mathematically correct.
Okay. Yes.
The book example does it way different.
Way different?
It makes sense.
The book does better?
Yeah.
Okay, do you wanna go with the book?
Are
Give me
you,
a right answer.
are you
I
just
can't.
saying you change that, like how we have the negative 1 and 1, so that's absolute value, a negative 1. 1 is,
Because you have to go on both sides of that, because you don't know if the number's gonna be positive or negative. We have no idea what x. Yes, I know you guys can solve this with your x values.
I know, I understand why you did the negative 7, because even if you take the absolute value of negative 7, it's still 7, which is on the other side.
Right.
So you want them to be the same.
Right, correct. Okay, and if the number, whatever I get here is greater than 5, it's automatically gonna be greater than negative 7. Automatically gonna be greater than negative 500. Okay? What number is that, or what example is that?
Mine is-
Example 4.
Okay, so you can look at example 4 on page,
Yeah, but
I don't know, page is-
I'm still trying to figure it out.
110.
Yeah, what's
Why does this switch to the negative 7 matter? Though, in this-
You want, okay, because you want them to be the same.
Why do you want to be the same?
Because of absolute, like when you're thinking absolute value, you're not doing like when you were split this up into 2 equations. You would have x plus 4 is well, like less than 7, or x plus 4 is greater than negative 7.
You're a four.
Okay, so in order to have a compound inequality with absolute values, those numbers have to be the same.
But I don't see why you need to have the -7 if it's already gonna be like greater than 0 because you have the absolute value sign.
Correct, but if we take away this, we're just saying whatever number is in here is gonna be between there, but yes, you are correct, it's always gonna be greater than 0. Because this always says it's gonna be greater than 0. That's a more of a mathematical, like following the rules, or as Ruthie calls it, the grammatical rules.
Okay, even though I still made a mistake, you never answered that question.
What was the question?
I don't understand why it's okay to take that as 7 and put it in front of the x minus 2.
Okay, the x minus 2 is the same equation from x plus 4. We derived it, we added 6. It all goes in the same thing. We derived this equation from here,
Uh-huh.
okay? So when we're thinking about solving, this is really the same thing as if we wrote up here. Not x plus 4. And that's not it either. Epsilon.
So is the 7 x minus 2 and the x plus 4 x minus 2 the same thing?
They're not the same thing, but we had to make this one go similar to what that looks like.
Yeah, but is that one and that one the same? Like the first, I don't know. It's
Like this and
yeah,
this?
that
Yes, the whole point was trying to make them so they both become x minus 2s.
one. Alright.
But in order to do
they
that, I had to
equal
make
each
this one
other?
x plus 4.
Do they equal each other?
I know what you're asking. Do the equations equal each other? No, but when they both come together, their limit still approaches the same number.
So the book,
Yeah.
from doing that, I pulled out the x plus 4 and made that c, and then divided epsilon by c.
I see, and then replug back that, and then replug that in?
Well, I didn't get that far. I didn't.
Okay.
But how come you switched it to, made it switch to x plus 4 and not just left it x minus 2? Because
Yeah.
that would make it equal. That would make it equal. That's what I was confused about.
Why did I switch it to
Yeah, why did
this?
it have to be x plus 4 and not x minus 2?
Because I know x minus 2. But essentially, I mean, it's not gonna matter except for your signs would be all screwed up.
Because I understand, like, kind of understand what it's going. I just don't know what to do after I have this.
This is the most confusing thing I've ever done in any math class. I thought it made sense.
You're saying, why did I not do this? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah.
You're saying, why didn't I change the x plus 4 to x minus 2? But this is not mathematically correct. Like, I can't have this number that's
Grammatically.
What did I say? Did I say mathematically?
You did
Yeah,
say
but
it.
we said grammatically.
Okay. You can't have a number that's less than negative 5 and greater than negative 7 that fits in this scenario.
Okay. So you just have to pick the one that you don't already know.
Right. And we'll do the same thing on the next one. So what they did, I mean, I just glanced at it, they just pulled out the C and then found out what C was later.
Yeah. That's that.
Instead of, I found it right away. That's basically the only difference. I went ahead and found it right away here. Okay, does everybody understand why you have to take the minimum of the two values? Okay, because we
I don't
don't,
understand why one is wrong.
by one, if we're not given whatever it is, 1 and -1, okay, don't even think about -1. 1, between 1 and 0, that's the smallest range I can have here.
Why?
Cause you're just going with integers, like you're not going with like, yes, I know you could go 0.00000001, but that's not gonna help us when we're trying to find, cause we don't know what epsilon is, we don't know what delta is, we don't even know what our x values are. We just know, as this approaches 2, the limit's 1.
So
So-
is it because the limit is 1?
For this instant, yes it is, but it
Sounds
wouldn't,
like it was 3, you wouldn't put 1 there?
I would put 1 here, cause that's still the distance between the two. Unless I know that it's different. Unless they tell me that it's something different. So like if I look at 33, like I don't know, so Carly, like this is where the theoretical part comes in that you guys all hate. If you don't know, you have to assume something. So we're assuming right now that it's between 0 and 1, the error is. But we really have no idea what the error is. This is where like the theory, like I'm assuming if this is true, then this is what my epsilon or my value is gonna be for delta.
Why do you have to have 2 in one place? Couldn't you just use epsilon over 7?
Because I don't know if this one's gonna be smaller or this one's gonna be smaller, because you want the smallest error. So like when you were solving,
What if the error is greater than 1?
which is okay, it's just whatever one of these is smaller. But the error, it won't. If the error is greater than 1, you're gonna go with your delta as 1. Because that would be your that would be your normal, your standard preciseness of a limit. Unless they tell you something, we're assuming this, we're theoretically thinking.
Thinking theoretically.
I know it's weird, and I don't know how else to explain it other than it's, and I know your brains don't think theoretically, like, I'm doing my class right now, and I just have to assume, like, you know that a rectangle has 4 sides. If I don't know that, I can assume that based on what I already know. So if I'm gonna go with what is my smallest possible error that I know could exist, this would be between 0 and 1. Now I know there's decimals, but if you're thinking integers, that's like the smallest thing. So really, whatever this number is would be between -1 and 1, because when I take the absolute value, it's still gonna be between 0 and 1.
So if it's in between -1 and 1, then why does it have the absolute values in between?
You don't have to have the absolute values here. This is like, when I can take those out, she just was like, why don't you have the absolute values? So I said, let's just put them on. Okay?
So it's a fancy fence.
Everybody squeaky. We never do that again. I don't know where my paper went. I had my homework.
You don't even have to have a level 7.
Hannah, what's the word? Writing analytically, thinking theoretically.
Writing analytically.
You know, oh my word, I didn't do that.
What?
Take notes over like the
I
full
probably
page.
literally,
You don't have to
It's
take
like
notes.
after I got out of the shower,
Oh.
I laid on my bed and I fell asleep, and then I woke up and I was like,
I didn't do it
my
either,
towel
you're fine.
and everything, so I had to get dressed and blow dry my hair, and then I just went straight to bed because I was so tired.
Just read it.
That's true.
You just do 3 tonight.
Okay, so on 33, it tells you verify that another possible choice of delta for showing that the limit of x equals 3, x squared equals 9, example 4, is delta is equal to the minimum of 2 and epsilon over 8.
I don't even know what that's at.
It's just verifying that these are your two possibilities.
So it's like working backwards
So before
than
you
what we've
use
been
one,
doing,
that was
right?
2 and -2.
But in example 4, did they use 1?
I think they just use C.
Yours,
Example 4,
no, they do
use-
1,
They use 1?
yeah.
Yeah, they said it's within 1 because
The error's always gonna be
It's
the
greater
same
than
one.
1.
Unless they tell you, like this one's telling me, like I know the error is either like 2 or epsilon over 8. Otherwise, you're gonna always assume 1.
So this is like the opposite of what we've been doing, like we're working backwards. Cause we have the answer, we just have to
Okay,
prove
this
it
one you're still
matches.
yeah, this one you're still working forward, but you know what your answer is going to be already. I don't know why he just like walked in and left. It's all good though. Okay, so this is your first part, right? You're good on setting them up, right? Like, is that,
Yeah.
that's a fair statement to say? Okay. So if that's true, then this is true.